Wow. I was trying to see if there's extra room over here if everybody wanted to move, but there's not. So, well, welcome, and thank you for this important announcement today. I think the attendance here reflects the importance of this announcement and also the work that has been put into this. And I wanted to first recognize the Transformation Advisory Board that has done yeoman work in researching, thought process, and interviewing and meeting with our administration officials and outside groups. Have done an incredible job, and that's been led by my good friend Michael Carroll, who has been chairman of the Transformation Advisory Board, who's relied heavily upon Tim Griffin, the vice chair, our lieutenant governor, who's served on the board as well. And the legislative support has been significant. As we formed the Transformation Advisory Board, we had both Representative Matthew Shepard, now our Speaker of the House, and Representative Andy Davis on the board, as well as Senator Jim Hendren as well. And I did want to recognize our Senate Pro Tem, President of the Senate, Jonathan Dismang, who's been a key player in this as well and shepherded it, and all the members of the General Assembly that are here, our cabinet officials. Thank you for being a part of this and being so constructive. And I'd like to ask Mike Carroll if you would just introduce the other members of the Transformation Advisory Board.
Thank you, Governor. First of all, let me thank you for your leadership related to this transformation initiative. You appointed the Transformation Advisory Board about 18 months ago, and we've been meeting about every 6 weeks over that period of time. And I would tell you that this is a pretty unselfish group of people because there's not been any taxpayer dollars that have been spent on this group, okay, related to expenses or for time that they have spent. And so this is a really neat group, and so they have worked very hard, and frankly, we're excited that we've got the chance to review this transformation plan and excited for you making it public today. So let me introduce the members that are here. Okay, Tim Leathers, who everyone in Arkansas state government knows, okay. Solomon Graves, okay, who is with the Department of Corrections. We've identified Mr. Shepard, Mr. Hendren. This is Jennifer Bell, okay, from North Little Rock. Eddie Joe Williams, who probably had as much to do with starting this effort as anybody based on Act 1202 from 2015, and then George Dunklin. Okay, so it's been a neat group of people that some of which have deep understanding related to state government, some do not, and so the combination of talent has really been, we've been pleased to be a part of this process, and we're excited that we're going to be able to roll it out, be able to start talking about it with Arkansans. So Governor, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. With that, today I'm announcing the plan of my administration to present to the Arkansas General Assembly next year the transformation of state government that will reduce the state agencies that report to me and the departments that report to me from 42 down to 15. This is the first comprehensive reform of state government since 1972, where you had 60 departments of government reporting to then Governor Dale Bumpers, and he reduced that down to 13 with the support of the General Assembly. Today represents the largest reorganization of state government in Arkansas history. 42 departments, hundreds of boards and commissions with over 25,000 employees that report directly to the governor. Maybe not directly, but up the chain to the governor. And I'd like now for the charts to be turned over, and this shows the organizational chart, if you want to call it that, of state government when I came into office. You can see everything from the Department of Labor to Information Systems, Banking Department, Heritage, Public Service Commission, all line direct reports to the governor. That is the current position. And now with the transformation efforts, you will see a totally different picture with the alignment of 15 major departments of government in an organized fashion that reports to the governor and will be the lead in terms of the cabinet of this administration. This has been an ongoing effort. This is not something that we started on year 2 or year 3. This has been an ongoing effort. In 2015, we took the Department of Rural Services and moved it into economic development. In 2015, you remember the scholarship lottery was moved from an independent agency into the Department of Finance. In 2017, the Energy Office went into ADEQ in terms of alignment. 2017, various burial boards went into the insurance department. So this has been an ongoing effort, and the way that we've done this and the savings created by it without losing employees immediately, that is a significant track record for us to build upon. Today's announcement reduces the fragmentation of state government by going from 42 major cabinet departments to 15. This transformation will be done using existing resources and without increasing staffing levels. It improves the delivery of services to Arkansas taxpayers by breaking down silos within state government and by combining agencies in a way that will allow for increased coordination within similar programs of the agencies. It improves management control, which is a key part of the initiative, and it provides more support and accountability to the vast numbers of boards and commissions we have in state government. The savings that everybody looks for will begin to be created in FY 2021 through shared services, lease, and rent savings. And you'll see as we go through this that it maintains the independence of where appropriate for specialized state agencies or departments. You can look at this from a lot of different ways, but let me take you through it in terms of 12 big stories of transformation. And everybody has, at least the media, has the organizational chart in a little bit more detailed fashion than you see here. And let me take you through some of the big stories of the transformation. First of all, you see that we have over 200 boards and commissions. They will now be brought under larger umbrella organizations. Some already are, but there were 62 that were out there dangling. And that's might not be the right technical word for it. But the 62 now are brought under those that are health related within the Department of Health. And so the State Board of Optometry, Dietetics Licensing Board, the State Medical Board, State Nursing Board, all within the Department of Health. It's a good fit, health-related boards and commissions. It is important to note that these boards and commissions will maintain their supervisory licensing authority along with their commission as they do now. And their special revenues will stay in place. And so though you're not going to have someone overseeing the medical board and what they do with a doctor's license and that process, they maintain their independence and their authority on that. This is a matter of support in terms of carrying out the mission, in terms of making sure they have the IT support, the human resources support, that we're coordinating when we should. And the same thing is true for the Department of Labor and Licensing, a new name, a new department that takes occupational and professional licensing boards and commissions and moves them within the Department of Labor and Licensing. The second big story coming out of this is the improved coordination within education, one of the foundational parts of what we're trying to accomplish in Arkansas. If you look at the Department of Education, you will see that the Department of Pre-K through 12 Education will report to the Board of Education. You'll have career education that will have its career education board that will come intact. You'll have the deaf and blind schools with their boards also, the Department of Higher Education, and it's important to note that higher education constitutionally is independent, And I want to assure higher education that you will remain independent and not report to the State Board of Education, but you'll have still the Board of the Higher Education Coordinating Board that will have its continued responsibility. And you'll have the Dr. Martin Luther King Commission and Board that has an education mission as part of its component. And so all of that will be in the Department of Education, a focus on education through different missions from higher education, and as you can see, we're moving pre-K, ABC, Arkansas's Best Chance program, which is our pre-K program, from human services over to education, which is the right message that we are educating our young people from pre-K through college. And so this mission of education is clear. The third storyline is the streamlining, strengthening the delivery of services under public safety. And before you turn the page, obviously I want to mention the Department of Veterans Affairs that maintains its important mission to the veterans. It's singularly focused to our veterans. They're not merged with any other agency. Veterans have their own cabinet-level department that will help support and carry out the mission and support for our veterans. But if you do turn the page, you'll see that there is the new Department of Public Safety. And under the Department of Public Safety, you have those different departments and agencies right now that are engaged in law enforcement activities within one Department of Public Safety for coordination purposes, for efficiency purposes, but more for the delivery of services that are better for our taxpayers. The Arkansas State Police, the Crime Information Center, the State Crime Laboratory, the Crime Victims Assistance Program, which is suggesting being moved from the Attorney General's office, and we've talked to them about it and they're supportive of it. The Department of Emergency Management, which is our response. And can you think about how important it is to coordinate between ATOM, Emergency Response, and State Police, now within a Department of Public Safety, to allow and break down those silos. And it goes on to Fire Training Academy and other missions that are outlined there. That is an important, very important mission and storyline that is developing for public safety. If you look number 5, you see the new Department of Commerce. Now, I'll come back to agriculture. But in the Department of Commerce, you have combined economic development and workforce services. Now, when I say combined, they're within the same department. Workforce services obviously will have its continued oversight board. It will have its unique mission, but it is very important when you're recruiting industry and expanding industry in this state to coordinate between economic development and workforce services and workforce training. And so you see that under the Department of Commerce. You also have the Office of Skills Development there that will allow for that greater coordination. The other mission is the financial services that fits together within the Department of Commerce. You have the State Bank Department, Insurance Department, and Securities Department. And note that they are not called divisions, they're called departments, because it's important for them to maintain their relationship with their bankers, their securities industry that they have served very well. But it allows for a look at efficiencies down the road, from space to human resources, and a coordination under the Department of Commerce. There's others there, from Department of Aeronautics to Waterways Commission. So it's marketing our state, it's financial services, it is economic development, it is workforce services within the Department of Commerce. Another important message is the message to agriculture. Not only does the Department of Agriculture maintain its consistent mission, but this is a recognition that they're the #1 industry in Arkansas. And they're reflecting that because now we have Natural Resources Commission, ANRC, moving within the Department of Agriculture that will strengthen it, will emphasize the importance of that role, that will allow for greater coordination in natural resources and agriculture both. And so that is an important message as well. If you go to the Department of Finance and Administration, you'll see that the Department of Finance and Administration continues as the lead department for revenue, for budget, and for administration. In fact, we're bringing within the Department of Finance and Administration Assessment Coordination Division. It's been a standalone agency, but they're now within the Department of Finance and Administration. Tobacco Control Commission and Board's also brought in there. And so their Budget and Finance Division is who I'll continue to rely upon for budget, finance, revenue matters. The Department of Human Services has already undergone significant transformation within that department. There's little change there except for the fact that AmeriCorps has brought out and will go under the Department of Higher Education, or the Department of Higher Education. And then the ABC program will be brought out and put under the Department of Education. So a few minor changes there, but the Department of Human Services, being the largest agency, will maintain its key missions. If you turn the page. Another story. It's the Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism. Now, this is something that everybody looked at and said it's a logical, natural fit because of their missions. Why are you all laughing? Mike, why don't you move that board out there a little bit? We want to see Mike and keep an eye on him. But the Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, there's such a common mission with some of the parks and the heritage museums and cultural sites. They both have similar in terms of financing through a 1/8% sales tax. They have the mission, one of preserving our cultural sites and our history, the other of marketing our parks and tourism, making sure that they're up to the highest standards. And so all of that from parks, tourism, Keep Arkansas Beautiful, and heritage, capital zoning, and state library and board will be under the Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism. It's an improved alignment to better serve our state parks, our cultural heritage, and to promote tourism. Number 8, in terms of storylines, is the new Department of Transformation and Shared Services. This is new, but it takes something from the private sector model in industry that utilizes shared services that reports directly to the CEO. Because of the importance of that mission in human resources, IT, procurement. I mean, for a state government, it's building services as well. So those 4 different services are brought together along with the geographic information system, and what they have in common is that these all serve state departments and state agencies. And so they will be continuing the transformation efforts, the shared services, that will be a cabinet level position. Number 9 is the merging of Department of Corrections and the Department of Community Corrections. There was almost unity of opinion as well, that this is something that makes sense. They both report up to the Board of Corrections, and so they're overseen by the same board. And so we believe with a similarity of mission, similarity of governance structure, that's a good fit. We also have the Parole Board, the Sentencing Commission, and the under the Board of Corrections, the Department of Corrections as well. If you continue, you'll see the Department of Energy and Environment, which is taking our Department of Environmental Quality and moving the Public Service Commission within Energy and Environment, Pollution Control and Ecology Commission, the Oil and Gas Commission and Board, Arkansas Geological Survey. As some of you know, if you have a oil or gas well, you've got 2 levels of jurisdiction. You've got the Oil and Gas Commission, and then you've got ADEQ. They will coordinate and function better within the same Department of Energy and Environment. And then for the first time in history, we will have the Department of Inspector General. Currently, we have the Office of Medicaid Inspector General, but that will be a part of this, but we'll also move internal audit from the Department of Finance over to the Inspector General's office, and they will combined be able to provide an audit capability for the executive branch that is broader than just Medicaid. And as everyone knows, there's a broader issues out there than just Medicaid in terms of expenditures and being able to oversee and monitor appropriate spending in state government and be responsive to the governor. As a part of that, we put Fair Housing Commission because they value their independence. They have a unique mission in fair housing, and so we wanted to recognize that unique responsibility and authority by putting them within this separate Department of Inspector General. So that concludes the major departments, the 15 that report to me. I will add that on the last page, we are recognizing the independence of key agencies and departments as well, so that Claims Commission, AETN, Social Security Determination, Public Defender Commission, and State Board of Election Commissioners will remain independent, not cabinet level. And of course, we recognize the independence, constitutional authority of the Game and Fish Commission and the Highway Commission. And then on the right side, just to remove any doubt about the rumors on retirement systems, there's not any plan to merge retirement systems in this transformation. And so the teachers' retirement system, the public employees' retirement system, and so on will maintain their current governance structure. I know that this has been a longer news conference than I usually have, but this is a very important topic with a lot of different ingredients to this. And I want to end by saying that, first of all, no employee loses their job in this transformation. That's important for reassuring our employees in state government that as they go through a transition time, any efficiencies will be achieved through attrition and not through saying you don't fit in this block. And that's the way we've done our transformation in state government. We'll continue to do that. We also want to go through the process as to how this is going to be accomplished. I'm laying this out much earlier than I need to. This is October and early, and I want to get comments of the public. I want to get comments by state employees. Hopefully they're supportive, but there's going to be technical corrections. They're going to be something that we might have missed. And so we'll be listening and we'll be adjusting as need be, but this framework, I believe, is the right direction. This, if adopted by the General Assembly, will go into effect in fiscal year 2020. And then it will not impact the budget until 2021 because our budget will be prepared in advance. And so you can see there's a long ramp of proper preparation, and the savings should be achieved in FY21, the second year of the biennium. Finally, I will say that as you see 15 cabinet positions here, no decisions will be made on persons, individuals that would go into those cabinet positions until we see that the legislation is passed, and then you can start planning for the future. But whenever you determine good policy, it should not be based upon personalities. And that's an important thing for us all to remember as we debate this historic transformation of state government. So with that, I want to thank again the Transformation Advisory Board, our cabinet officials that have been so supportive of this, as well as all of the legislators that are here that will have to now take the lead in shepherding this through the Arkansas General Assembly. With that, we're happy to take any questions.
Governor, with most private sector transitions like this, a merger or downsizing, there is a price tag on the synergies and efficiencies that come out of this. Has there been any discussion about how much the state would save or the savings over a particular period of time?
The Department of Finance Administration looked at and gave a very conservative figure for the initial years of the transformation. You have others in the legislature that have bigger dollar signs in their eyes. I think if you look back on when we've done, like when we moved lottery over to Department of Finance, we did not project any savings. We did that for alignment purposes. But Larry Walther will tell you that because finance was able to share services, there was over time savings that were created that was very substantial. And that has been true. So I don't want to put arbitrary numbers to the savings that will be created at this time. I think it's going to take a lot more time and evaluation on it. But I think that you will see as time goes on, and the longer the transition takes place or the transformation takes place, then the savings will escalate.
There's some speculation that you guys have looked at Economic Development Commission, Parks and Tourism and Heritage. Look at that.
There were
And what, why did you propose that?
because it leaked out and the story was out and we want to surprise everybody. I'm just joking. Just joking, Mike. Just joking, Mike. No, I mean, one, there's a lot of different ideas out there, and there was, economic developments within the Department of Commerce. There was a discussion about, parks and tourism. We ought to take tourism, put in commerce, and having parks in a separate department. Maybe merging that with heritage. So we looked at a lot of those, but in our listening tour and our comments we got, we didn't think dividing parks and tourism was a good idea, and that they are really integrated. And so we kept them together, but we put that with heritage for Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism. So that's the fit that was a consensus that will provide some efficiencies and continuity of mission.
So is there any particular parts of this that you're more open to change than others? And that you think might be controversial, you might have to change? You talk about having listened to it, surely you know.
Now, the feedback that we get and the changes that might be made are which should be more technical. For example, I previously met with the cabinet and someone raised, well, do you realize that we have 3 or 4 different retirement systems in our employees? Well, all those retirement systems transfer when it goes to the new department. I'd never thought of that question before. And so that's something that has to be technical in the drafting. And so those are the kind of things I expect to hear. But this has already gone through a lot of different iterations and study and thought. And this is the right framework for state government. So I don't want deviation from this framework of 15 cabinet positions.
Governor, in the shared services area, you mentioned that IT departments, will all of the state IT departments come together under that banner? And I guess the second part of that is, there are different systems within different departments. Will you try to streamline that to where all state agencies have one, Salesforce or different CMS systems?
First of all, we've already moved in that direction with the leadership of Department of Information Services. We're trying to have a statewide architecture. We're having a statewide IT security system. We're trying to consolidate data centers. And so all of that is already in works, but DIS is out there by itself doing this, and they have to charge for everything that they do to their agencies. That's designed by statute. So moving DIS within Transformation Shared Services will give them greater strength to accomplish that shared services mission. And so, whenever you look at human services, one example, Department of Finance, all of them have their own IT systems. We just want it coordinated in terms of efficiency, data centers, security. And that's what we'll bring in shared services and hopefully oversee the procurement better to make sure that we're using taxpayer dollars wisely.
Can you talk about the Department of Correction? It's going to work a little bit. Now you have the board, and under them ADC, DCC. Are you going to have one point person, like have an officer for this Department of Corrections, and will that person be above or below the department or the Board of Corrections?
Well, I mean, the structure is defined by statute now, which is you have the Board of Corrections that has a great deal of responsibility for the cabinet official, the director of the Department of Corrections, and the same thing for the director of, of Community Corrections. And so you actually have a sort of two lines of authority going, one to the Board of Corrections and one to the governor. And I expect that shared responsibility to continue into the future. It's just that it'll be aligned under one director of corrections that will have jurisdiction over ACC and Department of Corrections. Now, because we're not creating new positions and new bureaucracies, we're going to be utilizing existing personnel and staffing to accomplish this mission. So that's how I envision it.
Governor, as CEO of this organization, what were the day-to-day frustrations that led you to want to do this?
Well, one illustration was whenever one of my staff came in and said, we can't find one of our boards and commissions. We don't know where they are. And then they told me which one it was, and I never heard of them. And to come to find out that executive director of that particular commission was not showing up at work. And you know, the board didn't meet frequently enough to oversee it. And so that's just an illustration of how, and those 200 boards and commissions are not even reflected in that chart. This is just the 42 direct departments of government. So there's a frustration. The other point, yesterday I met with our boards and commissions, and great people doing incredible work. And I called on one, I said, how many times in the last 4 years have you been in the governor's office? Well, they started to laugh, 0. And so you've got, I said, you will have improved access to the governor's office with this new realignment, because you actually have a secretary to go to and say, I've got a problem, can you help coordinate with the governor's office on this issue? And they know my management style, that I'll bring in the secretary and I'll bring in the executive director and say, let's work through this. So it's that, you know, it's also reading history and seeing how leaders have key management team they meet with and they run things by. I envision an actual meeting of my cabinet where I can run tough ideas by, and we can be an effective team that helps accomplish the mission of state government in my administration. So I think our team has done an incredible job. This reorganization actually will help deliver services better to the public primarily, but it also gives me better management tools.
Will they call secretary?
They will be called secretary. There will be, I was trying to think, the Secretary of Corrections, the Director of Corrections. That will be fine-tuned in the legislation, but I would envision most of these will be called secretary.
But is the intention that each one of these reorganized agencies will have a singular point person directed going to you?
Yes. Yeah. And so you've got, that's the purpose of the cabinet, that they're the ones that are directly responsive to me. But you're also, you know, Bill Bryant leads the state police. You're not going to disconnect us. You know, he will be under the Director of Public Safety, but you're not going to disconnect me from the state police. And so you're going to have a lot of direct connections there. The same thing with Adam, emergency management. If we're having a tornado out there, I'm picking up the phone. And they know my management style there on having to have those kind of contacts. But right now it's done in a broader fashion. But yesterday, and of course this is boards and commissions, but there was one board and I asked them, do you have a commission room? And they said yes. And you can envision the commission room. Nice. I said, how many times does your commission meet there? Once every 2 months. So I go to another board and commission. Where's your office? Do you have a commission room? Yes. How often does your commission meet? Once every month. And you go on and on down the line. If you just looked at at the space that's required for this and how you can achieve some efficiencies. These are the excitement of leadership that can transform state government. We came out of the cabinet meeting and I saw some of the law enforcement officials talking. They say, we can't wait to talk because we're going to be in the same public safety department and how we can better coordinate. That is what I expect from the leadership of these cabinet officials, and this gives us great opportunity.
How often does your cabinet meet now?
Maybe once a quarter. And of course, to meet the cabinet, you have to go to the governor's mansion Great Hall. You have to have a very large room. And that's not diminishing any of these individuals, but it's just hard to have the conversations and the team that you need to lead within that.
So you mentioned DFA had a concern of savings. What is it?
My 15 million per year. But you know, that's initial. I feel confident that that's probably a good number to start with in FY 21. But I think after we look at that, I think you'll see that number grow.
How would this affect your appointments? You make regular appointments to these state boards and commissions. Would that impact those appointments that you regularly make?
No. No, the boards and commissions will remain because their authority remains, and that's really important because everybody worries about that. You know, if you have whether it's Career Education Board or you know, the Department of Higher Education Coordinating Board, the appointment process will remain the same. Their authority and if they're a regulatory agency, that will remain the same as well.
So are these secretaries all going to have to get their pay raises since they have more responsibility?
Don't have to.
Is your plan later?
Like a very opening comment, which bears repeating, that this will be created with no new resources and no new staff positions. So obviously, you know, if you look at education, if you look at public safety is going to have a lot of different agencies go in there. Probably initially someone within that Department of Public Safety will move up to be the Director or Secretary of Public Safety, and they'll have a dual mission maybe with their underlying agency is one possibility. So you're not creating new positions. I was in the foundation of the Department of Homeland Security, largest government reorganization since the Pentagon was created. And our directive was, you do this with no new resources, no new staff, you create it, and so you manage. We've got 25,000 people within this governing structure. We can utilize those 25,000 people to create the secretaries, the cabinet level office, and the support staff that's needed.
So if you're 40 or so appointed department heads now, do you foresee them transitioning the ones that you don't select for 15 secretaries? Do you foresee them transitioning to like a deputy secretary role, or do you think you'll lose some to attrition?
That all works out over time. I've visited with them, and first of all, I have full confidence in my cabinet, and they're going to have a role in my next administration if November turns out okay. As to the specific role, like I said, we're not going to, base our policy on personalities, but clearly, like career education is critically important to our state as a part of the Department of Education, but also as a mission. And so you're going to continue to have a director of career education within the Department of Education. You're going to have a director of rehabilitation services within the department that they're located. So you go on down the list. So over attrition, through attrition, you will be able to eliminate, consolidate over time. But I think you'll see a lot of combined functions in the near term.
You said there are 25,000 employees in those agencies. But you talk about there's going to be no job cuts. these are going to be accomplished through attrition. At what point, I mean, are we trying to get down to 20,000 employees? I mean, and again, you're not cutting jobs, but I mean, at what point do you stop, not replacing?
Well, through attrition and through transformation and improved delivery of services, we have reduced state employment now by 1,500 in the last 4 years. We didn't set that, I didn't announce that as a goal. I didn't have that as a goal. I just expect my cabinet officials to operate efficiently and to utilize technology in the delivery of services, and we want to fill state employee positions based upon the need that is there to meet the needs of our citizens. That's not an arbitrary number. We'll know when we get there, but once we get there, through technology and improvements and delivery, you're going to continue to have efficiencies down the road. So it's an ongoing. That's why you have the Department, excuse me, I was pointing the wrong one. The Department of Transformation and Shared Services. This is an ongoing effort. If you ask fast food services today or industry, what's your long-term goal of the number of employees as they bring robots in, as they emphasize self-service, there's a balance there as to efficiencies and the proper delivery of services. We're going to continue to work on that. All right, we'll be available, and I know you all have been standing a long time, thank you very much, and everybody has. So our Transformation Advisory Board, Lieutenant Governor will be available to answer any questions as well, and Mike Carroll. Afterwards, I know you'll have questions for our cabinet officials. We'll be available to talk, and you'll have follow-up questions, but thank you for your attention to this historic moment in Arkansas government. Thank you.